Those were pictures of Diego Garcia. It's raining out. I'm going to tell you about that island. I'm going to tell you a couple more stories about some more characters that I knew and worked with on the ship. So sit back, enjoy this one. I'm the Saipan Sailor, and this is segment 3 of The Last Gypsy, Diego Garcia. Like I said before, Diego Garcia is a small island in the southern part of the Indian Ocean. The British own it. It's their territory. And it's a U.S. Navy base. If you're in the Navy, you get stationed there. I think you volunteer to begin with. And then you're there for 2 years. They say you can do everything there is to do on that island inside of 1 month. I realized right away that I was going to have to establish a routine. Something that kept me busy, things I enjoyed. There was, in fact, a lot to do there. If you had a drinking problem and just went out every night and got drunk, you had problems. That was not the thing to do. But they did have a couple of taverns on the island. One such place was called Jake's Place. And if you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. They had, every Friday, they would have a barbecue, a big barbecue. They had a volleyball net there. They had a diving platform out on the water. And at nighttime, they'd had live entertainment. I mean, the place was like a giant resort, you know. It was paradise. There was an Olympic-sized pool. There was a gym. There was, you know, a couple of restaurants, internet cafes. You can get a massage. They had a store, PX. They even had a little amphitheater that they showed movies every night. Some guys like to dive. They had dive boats. They had fishing boats, a couple of Boston whalers. As a matter of fact, that island was probably one of the best fishing spots on the planet. I mean, there was one guy I worked with. He had a few $1,000s worth of fishing equipment, and he loved to fish. He would catch jackfish and wahoo. Once he was on the bow with somebody else. He was fishing, and they hooked a giant jackfish. And when his thing finally got tired, and he reeled it in, he was lowering his gaff, ready to hook it, when this huge shark came by and one bite ate everything and left the head. And he brought up the head on deck, and it still took 2 of them to carry the head of this fish back to the stern. That was a big fish. And speaking of sharks, one of the stories that circulated, one of the urban legends there, was that a hammerhead shark had made its way into the lagoon. Quickly found out that there's plenty of food for him there. So we stayed. and he wouldn't leave. And as I understand it, he became a real menace. Well, the Navy actually called in a SEAL team. They caught the shark, dragged it out a few miles offshore, and just blew it up. This thing must have got awful big. And I don't know how they managed to do it, but that's the story I got. There's not too many other stories about that island. I heard one funny story about a guy that was at Jake's place. He was pretty drunk, and they had to relieve himself, so he wandered off into the bushes, started taking a leak, and the British cops there caught him, let him spend the night in jail, and he went in front of the magistrate the next morning. Now, this is the British, so, the judge and all the lawyers, they're wearing wigs and robes and, all this old school stuff. And the magistrate says, well, it's a $50 fine for indecent exposure. The guy said, well, I don't have any cash on me. Well, can I get the flogging instead? And they laughed so hard they chased him out of the courtroom. They said, get out of here. They didn't even find him. Now, I don't know if that's a true story. It's probably some bullshit sea story somebody thought up. But it's pretty funny to hear the first time. We got an afternoon off every week, so we can go out, blow off some steam, or do whatever you need to do, a little shopping, whatever. I'd do a little shopping, I'd get a massage, and I would sit at the Seamen's Club and have a cigar. And one day I was sitting there looking out at the ship, when it dawned on me, says, that's not a good view. So I went back to the ship, sat on a fantail, and looked out at the shoreline. I thought, that's a lot better view. At nighttime, since that's a small island with little or no light pollution, the sky would literally be full. As you can see the rest of the galaxy, it's like being out at sea. Only better, because I was constantly looking up. You'd see a shooting star every 5 minutes. And on occasion, a meteor would come streaking across the sky. And it would be like a phosphorescent green glow. It would leave a trail too. I remember one night I seen a meteor, and it was a fella. I was sitting there and a guy was talking to me, and I was looking up at him. And right behind him, a meteor started streaking across the sky, and I was pointing to it, but he was so focused on what he was trying to tell me, he wasn't paying attention. And when he stopped talking, I said, you just missed it, That's a beautiful sight. And all you have to do is look up. There's a few more stories about the ship. I keep thinking of them and I keep forgetting them. So I'm going to end this segment and talk about the ship some more and the crew in my next segment. I'm the Saipan Sailor, and this is segment 3 of The Last Gypsy.